Also, I'd say Haven's just BRB. Jesus, it's just infinity and beyond. And then he died because he was really hyped about Call of Duty 4. I'm real hyped about Call of Duty 4. I don't even have as many hours in COD 4 as I have, like, clocked into a bunch of other things. YouTube. Okay. I'm gonna look right now because I'm subscribed to you. Salty Adventures. Boy. Looks cool. I like that skeleton and what weapon are you using? You'd be using someone's got sword and board and then the other person's got like a big Zweihander.
I'm back from eating.
I'm watching Mickey and Amy stream streaming Salt and Sanctuary. Also, yo, BGT, that ain't a long sword. That thing is like bigger than you, dude. Oh, it's not anymore. Never mind. I'm wrong. Never mind.
I'm confused at Black Ops having a sword.
Yeah, I gave up asking. Black Ops 2 is the first game. Okay. Black Ops 2 was the first game to acknowledge that players like me actually like doing knife only. So they made knife only kind of viable, and as a result, I stopped doing knife only. Because I'm like, no, I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be viable. Like, I don't want the devs to build in a knife-only system into the game, because that defeats the purpose of knife-only, if it's an actual thing you can do and succeed in. Because guess what? When you played a free-for-all in, like, Modern Warfare 3 or something, and you played knife-only, and you win a free-for-all when you go knife-only, it's the best feeling ever, because you brought a knife to a gunfight and won. And I would do, like, knife-only search and destroy.
Well,
Like
how could they how does them making it more legitimized feel like it's killing your actual challenge?
Well, mainly because everyone does it now, and it's like, you know, it's if someone's running around with a sword and just melee only, just only using throwing weapons and sword. Now it's like, okay, get in line. There's a whole bunch of you now, so you know,
That
get in line.
would you really consider that the fault of the devs if like everybody just wanted to
No,
be
not
that
really.
multi-knife guy?
I think they just emphasized it too heavily, and like as a result, it just
It like
lost its
I would
value.
be that guy that's like Dark Souls 2 had that kind of smart idea of you could like your reward for getting through the Champions Covenant is giving you something that allows fist uh, using your fists as viable.
Yeah. Does Bloodborne really have a fist weapon? The only things that come to mind are Stake Driver and then Beast Claws. Beast Claws seem like
Um,
they're fist weapon. Thereabouts,
Yeah,
because one of them is literally using
more
your
like
fist.
I would say claws, but technically claws is a fist weapon too.
You know, claws is still fist. It's just See, I kept thinking cause parasite without the arcane requirements to use it. I thought
Was gonna be
or no,
was
no,
gonna be
without the
a buff.
milkweed rune. I thought it was literally just for fists, but your fists did arcane damage. I'm like, this seems stupid. I'm gonna look forward to this. But nah, that's not how it works. Today on Best Friends Play Dark Souls 3, Pat beat the Cursed Rotted Greatwood in one try, and he actually didn't brag about it because he's like, you know what, that boss is probably super easy if I beat it on the first try. Like, yeah. At least you know your place. Know your place, trash.
So you can wear the ring that makes you get health back for doing combos, and then there's the other ring which gives you health back for killing enemies, and that combos actually really well.
That sounds exploitable.
That's still 2 ring slots, if you keep that in mind.
Yeah, it looks like DDT is using its way hunger, because I'm like, that thing's...
That's the legend weapon. Why did they not have the cane?
The yeah. Also, I run into that thing again, where I'm like, DDT is using a longsword and a shield, I'm like, I'm not gonna complain too heavily, but longswords, one-handing a longsword is like, it's tough. You gotta be pretty strong, or like, pretty skillful, because, just for fun, because I was sword fighting today, and I used it, just for fun, I used the tower shield and a bastard sword, which is still a longsword. It's just the smallest a longsword can be before it becomes an arming sword. So bastard sword is like the smallest longsword can be, and the tower shield, I had to work, but I will say tower shield makes it stupid easy. If you don't want a challenge and you want to sword fight people, use tower shield. It makes it so easy. Although we don't really have a normal traditional tower shield, my friend did a weird thing where he built it like the same as screw attack symbol, where it's like a weird like lightning bolt shaped thing. It's weird, but it works really well. So it's actually a really good shield. It's just a weird design.
I saw the funniest video for Times Convoluted, and it's not necessarily something crazy or anything, but Peeve or Peeverson, who is a very influential
Yeah, I know Peeve and Oro.
Peeve
is more influential. He was like, oh, he was miserable fighting Orphan of Claws on New Game Plus 6 with Beast Hunter, with Beast Claws. And it took him like forever. It did take him forever, however he wasn't miserable. He seems like he was just kind of neutral. He posted the whole thing on Steam.
It was like what, 3 hours or something, right?
Yeah, it did take him 3 hours, and and that was just that series of attempts. And considering he literally started attacking him at the very beginning of the stream. Yeah, something tells me he's been there for a lot longer than that stream. Wait, no. What were you saying?
Oh shit. Wow, one shot. And why are you taunting Tarkus? Stop it!
What were you saying about Times Convoluted?
So, Peeve invaded, like, co-operas and whatnot, and it was like a gank fight, and it all was well and good because Peeve was kind of used to gank fights anyway. He's been quoted to be quote the master of parrying because he just kind of gets the parry timings in like no time at all.
He's the John Cena of the Souls community.
He's just able to deal with it as better than anyone else can in the short amount of time.
Bro, with like the Undertaker. He uses.
Ouroboros is like the guy who tries
meta.
to find combo. Well, it's not like pure meta. It's like what's combo. What combo? Okay, got it. Found combo.
I watch his videos and I'm like, this guy seems like he's DPS king and nothing else. Like, it seems like he tries to find the meta and then use the meta. Because he kind of invented the Chikage thing, and all he would use was the Chikage and Evelyn, and I'm like, oh, look at you. Look at you, pure DPS. Yo, oh, that's fun.
You gotta give him credit for finding it at least.
I mean, yeah, good job finding it, but I could have done that. I could have been that guy that's like, hey, wait a minute. Chikage scales off a blood tinge. How about I just set my blood tinge at like 50?
Anyway, so Peeve is fighting gankers and whatnot, and then all of a sudden, Peeve 2012 invades, and he's like, "What is this?" And apparently, it's a player who is pretending to be Peeve, who's dressed like how he was in Dark Souls 1, with the same outfit and everything, because you know Dark Souls 3 kind of allows those costumes.
Recycles everything, yeah.
So, like, he literally just shows up with the same exact setup from Dark Souls 1. And he's like, what am I doing here? Well, time's convoluted, guys. I don't know what's going on. I looked so bad back in the day.
That's funny, I'll give him that. Him from the past. But if I killed him from the past, how am I here? And then he just despawns.
I think
No, you know it'd be great if he just like at the end of the fight, 2012, he just like pulled the ending of Looper and then just killed himself.
I got into like a really huge argument with somebody today about time travel. Specifically talking about Sly Cooper 4, and you know the Penelope twist, right?
Yeah, and how it's terrible because it doesn't make sense at all because time is a.
And I say I was
fragile.
I was explaining to him that like the only way her plan could possibly have any semblance of it works is if multiverse theory was it only affects the other verse, but the one that you're currently in doesn't change.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how it works or not. I mean, I'm not a hero.
No, I mean that's not. I'm not saying that's how it will work or not, but that's just a thought that people have where it's like
really dumb,
like where you can just create
and expects everything to play out exactly the same because she's trying to win like Bentley's affection by like
it's
changing time. But I'm like, by changing the past, the chances of you two meeting in the first place and even knowing of each other are slim.
The most common thing ever is if you affect the branch of A, it will change the effects of A. But the other theory of it
and it's directly related, so it's not like it's
and the other branch is and this is the thing I was talking about is you change branch A to open up branch B, where branch B technically has the events unfold, but branch A still exists within its time frame. So you and Bentley will still exist, but like Bentley will be affected by it. Meanwhile, everything else is still flipped over in the timeline, right? So in branch A through Z, Sly doesn't exist, but Bentley still knows Penelope in time A. That was the thought process, and I'm like, and there has never been in any media where that works out, nor how it been a popular choice for multiverse theory in the first place. And her plan relies solely on that.
Yeah, it's just no, it's stupid. I mean, I'm kind of the theory that like the fact that the universe isn't destroyed right now is kind of proof that I don't think time travel into the past will ever work. That or it was some other thing. It was the theory that BioShock Infinite used of universal constants, and that the universe, it is a constant that the universe will not break itself. That way, let's say, for example, that killing Hitler would somehow break the universe and cause a paradox.
Okay.
If killing, that's just a random thing. Let's just say that
Here,
killing Hitler will
here's
create a paradox.
killing Hitler is stepping on the butterfly.
Yeah, killing Hitler, not even that, but killing Hitler is creating, let's say it creates a paradox. If killing Hitler creates a time paradox, then you can go back at Hitler, you can go back in time and try to kill Hitler, and no matter what you do, no matter what you can possibly do, no matter what, you will never, due to the most random stuff, you could get run over by a car for accident, you could accidentally, like, your gun could jam and you get shot, you could trip and fall down the stairs, it doesn't matter. The, for for whatever reason, no matter how hard you try, you will never actually kill Hitler because it is a universal constant. So the universe will make up an excuse of why you can't do it.
And it tries Murphy lawing it in.
That's what Bioshock does, where it implies that there's constant variables, and one of the constants is that Booker will never kill Songbird, and that's why there's never a boss. And that's because of all the infinite number of universes. For some reason, there's always a rule, and it's always a constant that under absolutely no parameters or circumstances will Booker ever not die to Songbird if they get in a fight. He will never ever win. Ever. Is a constant. To be fair, that's a lame excuse for not putting a boss fight in the game. Should put a boss fight in the game. At least, even one that you lose, right? And you survive. But it would have served to hammer home the point of, like, under no circumstance can you actually beat him.
Either that or make it a fight where he fucks off after a bit of damage.
Yeah, sure. Also, I'm not up to date on the stream.
He has 1,000 pounds of kickback.
10,000. 100,000.
Let me go watch your stream. Are you on Twitch or YouTube? You on the good shit or the bad shit?
They're on YouTube. They're an YouTuber stream.
Alright, I'll find them.
Anyway,
BoobTube, got
really
it.
bad. I feel really bad for this guy because, we were, I was sword fighting today and I was longsword fighting with this other dude. We just had two longswords, we were just going at it because I love longsword duels. And his defense game was on point, but not on point enough. I'm trying to play shots with him and he's handle blocking everything and doing some really good counters on me that I'm just barely getting away from. And I'm like, dude, this guy's defense game is on point. He's playing defensively and he's doing it well. So I'm like, what do I do? Okay, he's using the handle. I just keep swinging and he's using the handle to block all my shots and trying to do little counters. So I'm like, okay, all I gotta do is keep hitting high and then drop real low so it drops below the pommel so he can't dodge. He's preoccupied up top and he's not gonna expect to hit low. So I hit high twice and then I hit real hard low to trying to get his leg, and it goes right below the pommel and hits him in the groin, and I just hit him as hard as I can with a giant two-handed swing where I just pickaxed it, and he just fell to the ground dead. Like, immediately dead. And I'm like, ooh. Yeah, sorry.
You didn't have to call red for that.
No. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He wears armor. He wears leather armor, but red hits go straight through leather armor, so I don't care. That's why
No,
I'll
but
just call red.
what I'm saying is just like you didn't have to call
Yeah.
red for that.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
I had him
hit
in
right
and
below the pommel and just, ooh. And it was like direct hit too, like full strength.
let's go Bloodborne Skeleton.
So I did this thing. This guy had like a kite shield and a sword, and I'm not really proud of this, but he like, I kept like leaning that I was gonna attack his right side and try to break his shield. So I raised the sword up, and then I completely shift my body weight over to the left side and come down to his right side where he's vulnerable, where he didn't expect me, and just chop his legs. And because it was a red strike that hit him in the leg, technically it goes through his leg and hits the other leg. So in one strike, I chopped off both of his legs. And he was just like, ah, that stings. Oh hey, you died. Hey, buy something. So yeah, the community did that list on the top 10 hardest and the top 10 easiest Souls bosses. Easiest I'll get to later.
I thought you were gonna talk about the one that people voted for the worst being Mikolash, and how you're upset about it. That's what I was expecting.
Oh, no. No, Mikolash was not. He's not even. I was ready to skip. He's not top 10 easiest. Because he's not. They're like, his final form keeps him from that easiest list. His final form can actually kick the crap out of you if you're not super, super, super aggressive like you should be.
Or let alone even, like, don't
Yeah,
pause.
he's got the room light that
Just
makes
don't-
it incredibly hard to deal with him in his final
Like,
phase.
like
'Cause
not,
you basically
not
can't
not
hit
even
him
talking,
anymore.
not even talking aggressive. Just don't pause. Don't just sit there. Don't wait for an attack.
Yeah, and you gotta slice him out of any attacks. The only saving grace that I found out later is you can parry his when he tries to punch you. What is that boss? That's just a giant windmill of like blades with corpses hanging from it. What? That's a boss. Oh, he's at half health already. You're doing good. That hurt. Anyway,
Salty adventure.
so I don't remember the exact order, but I know some of the orders. Like number 10 hardest was Ornstein and Smoke for the action factor.
Wait, not that. I remember hardest being Manus.
I'm surprised they didn't put them at number 1 because everyone's like, number 1, the hardest boss in the series. I'm like, not the hardest boss in the series.
Ornstein and Small was just an infamous gank fight. That's all it is.
Number 9, Lothric and Lorien. I've never fought them.
See, I don't think they're that hard. Everyone was telling me like they're so hard, they killed me so much, and I'm like, well then you're just bad. I don't know what to tell you. His swings are so predictable.
Also, your mic's kind of chopping in and out. I don't know if that's just me or not.
Is this work better, bitch?
Yeah,
Can you hear
that's
me
better.
now? Anyway, I was saying I don't get why everybody thinks they're so hard. The only thing that's hard about them is the gimmick part later when he starts shooting spells while still having to kill Lothric again.
I think they said their moveset is just really good, and you end up having to fight the boss over and over again, which they actually kind of listed as a negative, but it does make the boss hard. Not that good. Then a couple of them are in no particular order because I don't remember. Set the headed bloodletting beast without the head. He's in, yeah, I don't know what order he's in, but he's on the list simply because they're like his range deception and his ability to target you at all ranges is baffling. Because there's never a point in that fight where he's not a threat to you.
See,
Up close,
the
he's
thing
got the
is,
ground pound. From far away, he can snipe you.
the thing is they never even talked about the worm part. They always just talked about how
No,
his
they talked
punch
about the worm
wanted-
part. That's what I meant by sniping.
For me, the one I kept hearing about in like 2 videos when they were talking about it is, yo, his punch. His like charge up punch that hits across the screen. It's so difficult, it hurts, and it kills you.
Choppy mic
And-
again. That's unfortunate.
The one that everybody's been talking about was
I
not
don't know if
even
it's
the
me or not.
worm attack.
Because it was
It
fine when
was-
you reset the mic.
It wasn't even like the worm part. They were talking about the punch.
And then another one was the Laurent Dark Beast, simply because he has the ability to traverse the battle. Like he has the ability to get around the fight, like the arena, in seconds. So his distance closing is superb, and his HP pool is just crazy.
I think my biggest problem with the Laurent Dark Beast is hitboxing.
Yeah,
It's
they
not
also
any of-
brought up the
it's-
camera. Hitting him is like a real chore with some weapons. Rear wash. getting
Any like weapon with a horizontal or thrust just doesn't work.
Yeah, they kind of hated on him, and they're like, we like Parl, but like, not this guy. This guy has too much HP.
Well, and he's bigger. He's bigger than Parl's own size, and then he has
Is he?
like even
I have no
more.
idea.
Yeah, everybody, apparently people checked it out, and Chow's Dungeon bosses like Amygdala, Parl, Ebrietas,
I knew it
they're
for
bigger.
Abritas. I knew they got
They're-
bigger.
I don't know by how much, but they are bigger.
Yeah, because that's the physical forms, so they would be stronger. Anyway, except for Abritas, that's not Abritas' physical form.
The only one that actually doesn't fall under he's bigger now is Rom.
Yeah, Rom is not bigger. I never thought Rom was bigger. It's just more annoying because you're fighting him in phalanx.
It wouldn't help his case, his or her case anyway. It's an it now, I guess. It doesn't suddenly get a much more dangerous moveset because it's suddenly bigger, right?
Yeah, this is
Like every
when
ape
I was-
is dangerous because her charge and she's bigger.
Yeah, when I was talking about bosses on this list being hard but not necessarily good, I was talking about Laurent Dark Beast and Lothric and Lorien. This is a big one. He was pretty high up in the list. Blue Smelter. Good old Blue Smelter. And they're
It probably
like, yeah,
wouldn't be that bad if the run wasn't so garbage.
and they're like, nobody actually likes him, but we do need to put him on this list. Blue Smelter. Simply because he delays his attacks, he's got that stupid magic instead of fire. Radiant magic is like radiation, it just hurts you, I guess. He deliberately delays his moves from the vanilla version.
Difference, he changes the way moves work, such as they now like end with AoEs for certain moves.
Yeah, and his hitbox becomes terrible. Really does for sure. Bloodborne boss. on there. He was higher than he wasn't as hard apparently as Blue Smelter, but Artorias is on there because they're like his speed is crazy. His speed is nuts.
That's if you let him buff, and most people aren't aggressive enough because you need to break his poise. But
so I'm
like,
gonna assume most people have fast Artorias, which is a little difficult.
I just call it people are passive.
This is one of the only ones that I question, but apparently actually higher up than Artorias, indicating he's harder, Manus.
Yeah.
People say Manus is really hard.
Manus
apparently
is
his main thing is
Bloodborne.
he's just unrelenting and he's super aggressive.
He's a big guy.
break.
You know that thing that you're talking about that you didn't, which is juggling. Like it's a 5-hit combo that like the final boss has. That's just a juggle. Manus was the progenitor of that kind of thing.
Hooray! Yeah, it's because of that.
He also has like a full screen like projectile attack that you either need to use a pendant to or deflect it back, or the most timed roll in existence, dodge.
Yeah, also little watermark. Demon Souls does not have bosses on this list because Demon Souls, as this is them, not me. Demon Souls is easy. Demon Souls is too easy, and there are no bosses on this list.
Even though they talk about a flame marker.
Yeah, I think that Flame Marker would be on there, but he's not. I guess Flame Marker is not hard by modern standards. And then
It's more like, because you know, when people say it's not hard, they've already know all the whistles for something.
yeah. And then Dark Souls 2 only has one boss on there, which is by far the hardest boss of Dark Souls 2 because they said Dark Souls 2 bosses can be hard, but almost all of them fall victim to the get behind them thing. And a lot of them fall victim to Dark Souls 2 itis, which is I only do big overheads, so getting behind me has no ill effects. Whereas Smelter, you can't get behind Smelter because he's stupid. And he does the tabletop turns.
If anything, I was quite surprised on the easiest to hardest bosses for Bloodborne.
I don't know.
For example, like Wet Nurse is apparently harder than the Shadows of Yharnam. Apparently.
I don't think so. I think I did beat Shadows of Yharnam my first try, but I can just kind of tell, you know? I can kind of tell that, like, yeah, it's harder.
I mean, my first fight with Ebriated as well. Murgo's Wet Nurse. I didn't even see the duplicate fog thing. I beat it first try and she didn't even do the duplicate fog thing, although I think that might have been the 21-hour glitch thing. But she fell, even then she fell victim to just run to her side.
Yeah, if you get behind her, there's so little she can do. And if you're like me and you use weapons like the rifle spear with long range, when she does that keep away thing where she just has the AoE where she's like doing the blade flurry to keep you away, you can outrange that. Rifle spear can get right past that. Anyway,
Also, I've noticed you guys have been stuck on this cage demon for a while. Are you having trouble just hitting it, or is it the fire traps?
Yeah. Moving higher up the list, let's see. Ornstein Smoke, Lothric Norman, Manus, Artorias, Luron, Dark Beast, Bloodletting. Okay, we're down to the final four.
One that is like something I actually never expected people to do. So, Nameless King was voted to be the hardest boss in Dark Souls 3. That I expect. That's easy. That's simple shit. What I didn't expect is that people also note that it's the best boss fight as well. But often than not, people that are like the
Dude,
hardest are also
it's
the
good.
worst.
I like Abyss Watchers, but they're not hard.
I think it's one of the best fights in the game, but I didn't expect the community to go that pathway. More often
Yeah,
than not, they just say hard is not that great. I want challenge, but I don't want to be like upset. And Chairman's better.
What was the other? There was, I forget what number 4 was. I straight up forget what number 4 was. I think I lied, it might have been Fume Knight. Because Fume Knight also doesn't fall victim to the, he doesn't play by Dark Souls 2 rules of get behind me.
He in fact has a counter, which is the best part.
Yeah, he's one of the, they're like, I think they said he's easily the most intelligent Dark Souls 2 boss, and he's a lot harder than Smelter because his moves are just better, and he's a lot better of a fight, certainly. And he can punish you for doing what you do for every other boss in that game. He's the equivalent of Ludwig, where he's designed for players who are good at Dark Souls 2, and he's designed to mess with them. He's got a really high HP tank, and he can give out the punishment. The number 3 is the only thing on this list that I necessarily disagree with. And number 3 is Defiled Watchdog of the Old Lord.
After you know the secret.
My only thing is I would swap out Watchdog for Amygdala easily. Because after you know the secret, it's not hard. Whereas Amygdala, there is no cure for that. The cure is stab her in the tail and her Luke Dumbledore tail 10,000 times.
Okay, you know. There's the moveset, there's literally the technique that I showed you, but you also know that that doesn't work under co-op circumstances, because, you know, co-op AI is just not great. But on a one-on-one, I found out a strategy for it. It just needs to not have co-op, which is up to the person to say if that's worth it or not. To have that DPS or have a system that just requires you to maintain.
I mean, I can beat her, it's just like... With the rear Palosh, it was a nightmare. Nightmare. It was the worst. The actual worst. Anyway, I would put Defiled Amygdala there because I think she's significantly tougher than Watchdog. But whatever, people are like, Watchdog, he's by far the most damaging enemy on this list because you have to fight him at half health. So he's just the hardest hitting on the list.
See,
so
you also saw me fight the Watchdog thing. When you know how his swing is, I never found it that hard to fight against him. The only move that I thought was actually kind of annoying was the one where he just like burps and there's no real there's no real
dude. Because if you get caught in that, it's the same thing as Manus and Soul Cinder, where you're caught for the whole combo, and that's death. Unlike
and there's like there's no startup to it. I mean, there's a little tiny burp, but it's for like a moment. You don't have it all the way.
Yeah. So yeah, that's number 3. Number 2, Nameless King, Dark Souls 3. Nameless King's really tough. I don't know if that's people being on the honeymoon period of Dark Souls 3. I feel like, no, this boss, he has a ton of HP. He has, like, probably one of the highest HP counts on this list. And he's just a war of attrition. Yeah, I'm just gonna give it to you.
I fought him, he has a lot of health. There's no doubt about it. He has a lot of health.
His HP, and I think they said he has the most HP for a normal game playthrough on that list. Oh.
This.
Oh no. Did they just die?
Yeah, they did.